We started late. Okay. Welcome to the planning board meeting. This is Thursday, October 30th, 7:30 in the morning. This meeting is held only
Enter
via
your
Zoom.
participant ID followed by
and so we will only be talking via Zoom. So just keep that in mind as what's
You
behind.
have entered the meeting as a panelist. Attendees can now hear you speak. This meeting is being recorded.
I think we're starting a few different times here. In any case, so on the agenda right now is we're going to be talking about the tennis courts, in particular the planting plan and what's happening around the perimeter heading towards Rosemary Street. So Lee and Tom, I think I'll let you guys take it because Lee, you were thinking of giving it an allowance to.
Well, yes. I mean, I think there's been some deviation on the plan, and I think Tom can explain the reasoning for that. But I think it still satisfies, what the board's intent was to provide an adequate buffer to the residential neighborhood. I think they had some issues with getting the specific species that was actually designated on the plan, and I understand Tom has reached out to some of the neighbors and that they're actually happy with the end result. So I'll let Tom give you an update on why there was this deviation and why he feels that it's adequate.
Yeah, so, and I think Justin and Ed can help with this too, but I guess going back to what we've done over the last few days, I think mostly we heard the neighbors at the meeting. Screening was very important to them. And that is one of the things that we've had multiple conversations with. Following up with that, let me share my screen, if I may. I know some of you might be driving, but what I'm showing you is sorry, it's the wrong screen. Let me switch, there we go. All right, can you see, I circled the neighbors that we've went out this week to talk to. And we couldn't talk to all of them, but the ones that I circled, 36 Rosemary, 24 Rosemary, 567 Webster Street, and 583 Webster Street. We approached them with the intent on, like, how did we do communication wise, screening wise. So we got some good feedback. At 36 Rosemary, he was very pleased, and then as we walked away, he said, could use some more greenery. And when we approached 24 Rosemary, they they love the screening, they love the staggering of the species as well. And then we met with 567 Webster Street. This resident was really opposed to the project to begin with. Thought the tennis court is going to send balls over to her yard. She already already had that problem to begin with. Ultimately, she did say that that she thought it was a good job, but she's still on the avenue of like not appreciating the project as a whole. 583 Webster Street. That resident absolutely wants no more vegetation in front of their property. And I'll show you a picture of this anyways. We're going to work with them on redoing some fencing because that was the big thing that she had an issue with. So, I mean, ultimately, we are hearing from the neighbors. We are trying to do a finished project detail list on kind of like the neighborhood, checking up on them to see what they did and did not like. But I think Ed heard as well is that the screening, the vegetation was very positive amongst these people. I'm going to show you. Let me stop my share again. I feel like I'm a novice at this. Apologize. So here is a photo of the outside fencing. As you can see, the green giants. These are going to come in. This is looking over. Okay, that's in front of 46. This is between 24 and 28 or 30 Rosemary. This is the resident that absolutely loves it. This screening. That's in front of that's closer to 36. This is the person who wants some more vegetation. This is looking back right at 24. This is at 24. This is the staggering that she likes a lot. That's towards 46. Rosemary. This is the resident who doesn't appreciate the tennis balls in the past. She does have this is her arborvitae. She's got a dead arborvitae. We can ask about if she wants us to work on replanting that. That one's, gone. This is a resident at 583. This is the woman that does not want any plantings at all. We are in the middle of processing a change order to purchase more vegetation over here. She absolutely does not want anything. We try to talk her into a bunch of stuff. She doesn't want anything. She feels like it's going to drop stuff onto her property. But you can notice the fencing. This is the fencing that was approved. She wants higher fencing. She feels like people are trying to cut through the property or doing handstands on the fence. She doesn't appreciate that. We're going to work with her on doing some better screening for the fence. So I think hopefully you guys were able to see those photos as well.
Thank you, Tom. Hey, before we continue, my apologies. I did not call attendance or roll call. So I think we're all here. But since we're doing Zoom, I'll do it one at a time. Eric Greenberg,
Present.
Justin McCullen,
Present.
Adam Block,
Present.
Natasha Spada,
Present.
and Artie Crocker chairs here, and Lee from the town, Lee Newman, and Alex Lee is here as well, who normally attend the planning board meeting. So my apologies for not doing that at the beginning. So I'll open it up for just some questions right now. So who would like to start?
Artie,
Yes, Adam.
I think you may want to ask who else is here to say their name and where they're from.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Yeah. So who else? That's right. Who else is here? I think I see Ed Olson from the town.
Yes, Artie, I'm here, present, thank you.
Okay. And again, Tom right at the end.
Alright.
And Ed Olson. Well, you're the director of forestry or something. Is that what it is now? Ed?
Parks and Forestry Superintendent, tree warden as well, yes.
Was there anyone else here? I don't see anyone else.
Justin was here with his phone.
Oh, I thought that was double Justin's.
Oh, was that a double Justin? Was
No,
that-
I don't think so. No, because my
No,
phone's
it
here.
was, yeah. So it's just a different Justin on his phone.
Yeah, actually, I think I hear him coming in.
I'm on. I'm just not a panelist, so I can't talk or say anything.
Okay, yeah,
So-
he's not a panelist, so
But I can. I've been on the meeting. I can hear everything.
Who is that, Tom?
that's Justin Saviano. He's assistant town engineer.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
So yeah, he was listening in on it. I thought I saw him on his phone coming in, but maybe he got cut off when he arrived. So
Who would like to start any questions? Anyone?
Hi, sorry. I was on my phone. I transferred to the computer and I lost my panelist position. So anyway, Justin Saviano, Assistant Town Engineer.
Okay.
Can I ask a favor of Tom? Are you able to show the photos again on the left, to show the screening on the left side of the courts, which I think is the Rosemary side, not the Webster side.
Yeah, so I'll start with, can you see this one? This is the Webster Street side. I'll skim back. Okay, that is looking towards 46. That's if you're at the Fire Road entrance and you look to the right. This is this right here is 20. I'm not sure you can see my cursor. I'm
Yes.
circling the
Yes.
fence. This is the 24 Rosemary. This is the planting right now.
Thank you.
Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, I just wasn't able to see it before, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate the outreach that that you did to, you know, the neighbors and hearing both the positive and negative feedback. I think that was, you know, a good, honest effort.
I can say
I-
that, I'm sorry, Ed
Go ahead.
Olson has been very instrumental of working with these residents throughout the years. So there's been a lot of give and take, especially when they had some tree issues and they needed to cut across the construction site to do their private trees. We worked out arrangements with them to accommodate. We had discussions with them. I want to say this resident right over here, I mean, she absolutely loves us. So sometimes we don't get that. So this is and even the person who was adamantly opposed to the project, I think she appreciated us coming back and reaching out. And we had we had a good conversation with her as well. And
Thank you.
resident on Webster Street. So
Thank you, Tom. Justin.
Sure. I just first of all, I think it looks fine, and it's good that I'll echo what Adam was saying in terms of getting some feedback. I would probably urge to maybe hit some of the residents that that weren't there, just to kind of make sure that we circle the loop. You know, because this was public meeting, and we did have a lot of people who did speak and had opinions, and want to make sure that at least they're, because we did deviate from the plan that was approved by the planning board, which is, you know, that I think that's more of the issue that at least I had, that you know, I think the end result is fine. I think the outreach is great. I think when this was known that we're going to have to deviate from whatever reason, species, etc., just a note saying that, you know, we're going to go a little bit off piste, you know, just so that, because that's what sparked this meeting here. You know, 7:30, and on you know, on a weekday morning, we have to kind of get together and figure out why. And there was some significant, I mean, there were like 4 different types of species. There were, you know, coverage. Now in one area, we're not going to do any coverage because of a request from the neighbor. So there was a difference in the landscape plan, significant enough that I think, I would have felt, and I don't know, the rest of my board members would have felt, that we should have just gotten notification heads up. You know what I mean? That we're going to go a little bit different, and this is the reason why, and that's great. And I don't, you know, I think the end result is fine. But I would just urge you guys try to do door knocking or whatever, just to hit the other individuals, because they, you know, I don't want to get into a situation where, especially where that one neighbor doesn't want anything. What about the person next to them? Because I noticed it was almost every other house, just to kind of see if we can satisfy, because we did go through a public process for this, so we want to make sure that we circle back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Justin. Adam, it sounded like you. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead. My apologies, Tom.
yeah, I appreciate that. I just wanted to just clarify though, the extra vegetation that we're seeking in front of that person's property, that was not part of the plan. That was an extra.
Fair.
So we are getting some more vegetation. I think some of it's to fill in some of the gaps. that we saw, that wasn't part of the original plan.
Is that on the
Uh,
Rosemary side or is that on the Webster side?
Webster side. That was on the Webster side?
The last picture that you
Oh,
showed, yeah, that was
I'm
Webster.
sorry, that's something different, sorry.
Oh yeah, that was good too. The accessibility there, that was good.
That's over here. That was, the only requirement was the fence. And she doesn't like the height. So that was approved. We're going to see what we can do
What
to
did she,
extend it.
we had very specific discussions about the height of the fence.
Yeah, this is a different fence. This is the
Yeah.
perimeter fence. And then we have I believe this fence right over here is 14 feet
Yeah,
high.
that's
Which
that's the
we
fence
did
we
go
have.
to higher, right? Because
Yeah.
I was initially drafted for 12,
Yeah.
I think, and then we asked for an extra 2 feet. I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the fence we had asked for, and I can see that. So I surveyed the project. It looks wonderful in that place. Yeah, I surveyed, and that fence is clearly higher than the other fences heading perpendicular to that, going around the other parts of the tennis court.
Yeah.
And so
The-
that is going up to the height that we were talking about.
That is the height, yeah.
Okay.
That-
Adam, earlier, I might have cut you off. Did you have something to follow up when you were asking about?
Thanks. So I appreciate that. So I did. It seemed as though from one of the photos that there were gaps on the Rosemary side as well. And it's hard to see it from the perspective of, the neighbors' backyards. So is there an intent to fill in? So we were talking about in the plan a certain specific number of species, variety on the one hand, and then on the other hand, there was a volume. And the purpose of determining the size of the trees and so on that would be restored was to, if I remember correctly, was to ensure that there was enough coverage, especially as the trees grow. And I just don't know if the gaps are too much on Rosemary's side. And Eric, I think you thought you might have an opportunity to walk it. And Artie, it sounded like you did walk it, take a
Yeah,
look.
I did walk it.
I'm curious
Yeah,
what your
Adam, if I could, as I walked it, Adam, one of the big gaps was simply that was let's call it the access road.
Yeah, so this is the looking from, again, this is 24 Rosemary. This is probably right near the corner where of the high school property, looking towards the fire road. So like this, Ed probably could speak to this. This is going to fill in. The area that you're probably thinking about is probably in this area here where there's some pine already.
Yeah, it's right
And
there.
Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, we are in the middle of purchasing some more plantings.
will they take hold over this season as we go into colder weather?
You talking about the Green Giants?
Whatever plants you're about to install or trees you're about to install, given that we're into November, is it going to take hold or does it need to be replanted in the spring?
Yeah, that I don't know. I probably have to defer to Ed on that. And if the case may be, we would plant them in the spring. So we still have our contractor out there doing some punch list items and some other stuff too. But as far as they do owe us, one of the trees is did not establish, so they do owe us one in return. So I thought we were going to take an opportunity to do some other stuff, creative stuff with them. So
So Tom, I heard there were two people you referred to. So Justin, he asked you about additional plantings that were being purchased. Was that
Hi.
happening?
I assumed you were talking to me, Tom.
Yeah.
So I was in the process of getting another dozen evergreens to put along Webster Street, as we said. That resident doesn't want them at all. That lower fence you saw was actually a replacement of the original low fence that was there that was rusted and in pretty bad shape. So as part of that, we replaced that fence, which is about 6 inches shorter than the existing fence that was there. So that's what we're working with the resident, because the way it is on the slope, once we regraded, there was a lot of debris behind the old fence. So it was deceiving of the height. Once we cleared out that hill, it makes the fence look a lot lower because there's not a foot of leaves and everything else that's pushed down that hill over the last 15, 20 years. So once we cleaned it up, it does appear to be lower, but so that's why we approached her looking to put some staggered plants there. She's against it, so we're looking at either potentially raising the fence a few inches, even though telling her it's not really going to do much as far as a buffer, but maybe even putting some slats in it to give her some visual buffer, just because the side gym there's a lot of athletes that are constantly coming in and out, and it's a busy area. We also fixed the steps on the side there going up to the gym, so I think people are kind of utilizing those a little more than they were before. But yes, there is a possibility to add additional plantings also along Rosemary. It's just, and I ask Ed, the spacing that was there is to make sure that there is enough space for those green giants once they do grow in over the next year or two. It's going to fill in quite substantially. So if you overcrowd them, it's going to be a detriment to their growth in general and creating that screen.
Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you all set, Justin?
Yep.
Okay, Natasha, then Ed also. So Natasha, why don't you go then? Ed, just want to hear from you about the planting seasons. Go ahead, Natasha.
Okay, thanks, Artie. And I just want to say I appreciate the thoughtfulness of thinking of this, of talking to the neighbors, making sure, understanding that some of the plantings weren't available and all of that. So just want to say that it feels like you've been very thoughtful about it. 2 items. The reason why we wanted the plantings was not only to screen the neighbors, but also to create a design that had an intention that screened the entire piece of land or the site. And so I guess my question is, I need to go to the site and I'll probably go today or tomorrow, but in general, even if someone doesn't want the trees, there's an intent of design that was supposed to happen that made it look cohesive rather than piecemeal. And I'm concerned that by going person to person and not doing some and doing others, that it's going to look like a hodgepodge of things rather than the design intent. So that's my only question. And I guess the other question is, so is there a way of, even though, because this person might sell their property next year and then we're left with a hole in this design intent. And then the other question is, did we get a credit for all of the plants that we didn't get?
Yes, we were only charged for the trees that were installed.
Just to clarify again, the side where that were demonstrated the hole, there was no planting plan.
There was never anything there to begin with.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Realistically, it's on the town property. If we felt there should be a visual buffer, we could plant there by right as our property, but we were just trying to take their
feedback, yeah.
opinion and not think that we're just going over their head and just planting stuff behind their house.
No, understood. I just wanted to make sure that with the change of plantings, that then we weren't going piecemeal by house rather than the design intent. So if there were no plantings there originally, and we can always do it later, which is what I think I'm hearing, Justin. And then in addition to that, the ones that were reduced look visually like the intent that we had, I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure that we're not designing, lot by lot and not thinking of the whole thing as one larger parcel.
Thank you, Natasha. Ed, could you answer the question as far as planting seasons? As far as if we're planting more, when would we do that at this point?
Yeah, sure, Artie. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
please.
great.
Yes.
I can answer that, and maybe I can add a couple things as well. So yeah, this time of year is fine until the ground freezes. We're planting trees actively right now with our forestry division. It's a great time of year. Leaf drop, getting trees in the ground, letting them acclimate over winter, and it's a kind of a step into the spring. So absolutely, we'll plant until it gets too cold, which will be a couple more weeks. So good point. We certainly wouldn't want to plant it to frozen ground, so we could always pause that. It sounds like we're pausing plantings anyways, as Justin mentioned. That last neighbor that had no plantings, we're going to be mindful of her concerns. Doesn't want plantings, as Tom mentioned, Justin mentioned. She just wants a little higher fence. Getting back to Justin's comment, I think that's like you said, that's the crux of the whole thing is making sure you guys are aware of these things. It's tough when you're running so many construction projects at one time. The seasons, you got so much being thrown at you, but definitely understood and hear that. And we acknowledge the fact that that was a misstep. Lastly, I think the ruling stated 5, 6 to 7 foot evergreen trees. There was a reason behind the change, and I think it was availability of species at the time. We did talk about this, and we went back to the meetings, and kind of the intent of these plantings were screenings, evergreens. So the green giant arborvitae is an incredible screen. It grows 3 to 4 feet a year, if not 5. As the woman mentioned on Rosemary Street, she was tickled pink when she saw those because she has a line of green giants on her own property. She said, I couldn't believe how quick they grew, how quick they became a privacy hedge for us in a sound attenuation. So going back to the de minimis change that we should have talked to you all about, the intent was privacy and sound attenuation and trying to frame in this project so that people see it from a neighbor standpoint. And it was really nice yesterday talking to neighbors and hearing one neighbor say specifically, great job getting those plantings and choosing that species, and furthermore staggering so it has a natural feel to it as it grows in and provides the screening we all desired. So thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Couple of questions. One is, would you go down to the picture to the Highland Ave side at the very back of where we're looking now, the very other end of where we're looking now, Tom?
I'm sorry, Rosemary.
Actually, this is fine. This will be fine. As I was walking it, simply on the back side, yeah, way
over here.
Arrow to the left, move the arrow to the left, right there, to the left of those trees.
Yeah, I think I have a photo. Hold on.
We're missing. We're missing. Yeah, going from that point.
That's looking the other way.
Yeah, from that point towards Highland, we're missing some tree. I believe we're missing a buffer there because there was a neighbor there that has a direct view of this. And I don't know if you have any. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a direct shot of it, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
Highland Ave. There's about.
It's behind us, right?
Yeah, it's behind. It's behind. It's coming towards us from that tree. You can just stay at that photo. That's fine. But because you don't have one that directly shows it. But there's a buffer needed there. I'm not sure it was on the plan, but when I walked it, it was clear that there's a direct line of sight from that neighbor to the left of that over to the tennis courts. Yeah, it's the bottom of that. If you look at the bottom of that picture, go down. Yeah, go down further. I mean, there's a line, where it's not showing trees right now or any vegetation. There's a direct line of sight.
Yeah, so this is existing vegetation. If you can see this, so
but there's no. I mean, there's literally a direct line of sight from the neighbor's site over to the tennis courts. I was there, and there's
this is number 46.
That'll grow in. There's no vegetation that's going to grow in and block that view.
Yeah, you can see the plan, right?
Yeah, I see it. Yes.
Okay. This is number 46, Rosemary. I don't have a photo looking that way. But yeah, we can take a look at that.
Well, again, there's a direct where your arrow is there.
Yeah.
There is no vegetation blocking it, no matter what season it is.
Okay.
On the site.
Yeah, they're showing some existing vegetation. I'm not sure what, so it doesn't describe what that is. It could be a small pine or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do need some there. I'm not sure why it wasn't there before, but we do need some there. If you could. And the other question I have is, and I'm not going to repeat what was said by everyone else. Other question I have is that I call it that access road. I'm sure we probably can't do anything about it, I suppose, but I'm not sure what purpose that access road has now. And so is there a reason why we're leaving that open as opposed to planting vegetation? I know there's a gate there, but there used to be, it used to mean something. You used to be able to actually get up into the high school from that access road. And again, there's a gate there, but do we need to leave that open, or could we just plant across that?
When we were looking at this at the beginning of the project, it was a desire to keep that access road, and I believe it would probably be a whole
First
nother
response.
step in order to try to block that off.
Yeah, police
we
and fire
did
need
just-
that open,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did design that also, so in a case of an emergency, a vehicle will be
Yeah.
able to get through there, drive between the
Absolutely.
tennis courts and get
Yeah.
to the high school.
I think that was part of the discussion is. I
That's
remember
right.
that As,
That's correct,
It has to
Justin.
be.
I
to
mean,
be
it
able to
wouldn't
go
be
up.
easy, but it's doable if in an emergency, someone had a cruiser had to drive over the berm and get to the high school, they could get through that gate or whatnot, so, or an ambulance.
Okay, so then the main thing being just those additional plantings down towards the Highland Ave side to block that neighbor, because it isn't being blocked now. That's all I had,
Yeah.
Tom, for that.
Yeah,
Anyone
we
else
did
have-
get a chance to talk to this neighbor right here. So there were a few people that either weren't home or saw us and thought we were collecting taxes or something, and didn't want to
Right.
answer. So they were, and then we saw them leave after we knocked on the door. So apparently no soliciting or whatever. But we'll reach back out to them. We tried to get as many as we could, but we'll definitely reach out to the others that we didn't, or at least leave a door knocker or something on them.
Just
on
the
their
best
door.
effort attempt. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand, there's not a requirement to
Yeah,
hit
thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, Tom. And again, in this case, it's what the neighbor thinks. It's a matter of just, as Natasha was referring a little bit, I mean, it's kind of a continuation of a form factor or what we're trying to do there. So whether they're there or not, we need trees down to that Highland outside, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. And there's nothing else I have to say. Anyone else have any other questions?
Artie, just one
Yes, Eric.
question. The abutter, the resident who does not wish to have more screening, would that impact the immediately adjacent abutter in terms of views and screening from their lot?
So if you're talking about the one directly beside them with the retaining wall, they actually are, there's about a 4-foot retaining wall and additional arborvitae, so they already have a pretty good screen of the tennis courts already.
Tom, would you put up that aerial view?
Well, I have here's the photo.
That's the neighbor directly aside.
yeah.
of them.
Yeah, so that's the neighbor right there. They have a row already of arborvitae, and then the town built this wall like 11 years ago. This used to be again, when one of the complaints that she has is that back in 2007, between 2005 and 7, this became the tennis courts, and whatever fencing was here became the retaining wall. So over the years, that filled in, it piled up against the fence. And then she had her own fence too on one side, and the town had their fence. So we came in, we worked with her. This is back like 10, 11 years ago. We removed the fences and we added a retaining wall, and we added like another fence on top of it for that section. This is what she has right now. I mean, you can't really see it right now. It's a little block wall. And then she put her screening back. So this is roughly where the property line is.
Right.
Does a little jog. So she owns this vegetation. We could ask her if we have an opportunity to pick up another arborvitae if she
Yeah,
would.
no, I was actually planning on replacing that arborvitae because it was living before we were there, so I was planning on putting a new one in.
Yeah, we can take responsibility for that. Say it was part of the construction. We want to do it, and just get it done. But other than that, she's got total screening of it. She probably can see the gym from her, if she's standing over by the backyard over here, she probably can see the gym, but I'm not sure how much of the tennis court she can see. It's kind of hard to tell from this picture, but
Eric, any follow-up?
No, just to make sure, and this, I know this is one of the people that you've contacted, but given that her neighbor does not want the screening, just to make sure that everything is fine with her in terms of what is going up or what's currently there. No further questions. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, I don't see anyone else with a question. Lee, so
So I guess in terms of next steps, I have a request, of course, to, sign off on the project at this point, and to allow the tennis courts to be utilized. So are you comfortable with my proceeding based upon the understanding of the additional work that DPW plans to do and the communication they plan to have with the neighborhoods if I move forward with that?
I'd be
Could we,
okay.
as a matter of process,
I think I'd be
Sorry.
okay as long as those plantings towards Highland Ave are there on the let's call it the south end of the project, or the west end. Sorry, it might be more like the west end of the project towards Highland Ave. As long as we have plantings there, I'm okay with it. Adam?
I have two thoughts. One, the woman that you're referring to on Webster that was dissatisfied, one of her concerns, if I remember, was kids were like using, I think we're hopping fences and kind of getting onto the property, and if that wasn't the case, there was certainly not much privacy. And if you're able to restore with those slats, probably along that fence on the Webster side to create more privacy, I think that would be a good idea. Especially as there's only a few residents, if you're able to speak to them. This really, I think, is a de minimis change, and I think, Lee, we should follow the de minimis process. Like, we're having this informal, we're having this meeting now. I guess it's not formal, it's a formal meeting, but would the process really be a de minimis change one?
To add the slots on the fence?
No, to make all these changes and to accommodate the difference between what was planned and what was actually installed. Any other applicant would have come to us for a de minimis change, correct?
Yes. Although I think I'm just trying to figure out a way of not creating a lot of process here, based upon an understanding. You are seeing this currently, so perhaps they could just, I could write a memo, articulating that the approval is conditioned upon these additional changes being made.
Go ahead, sorry.
Just trying to, I hate to create a lot of extra process if it's really not if it's not totally necessary. I think we're talking about having them add some additional landscaping in the locations we talked about, the potential to raise the fence in that area and then add the slots. I could, issue a memo indicating that we're okay with the project, with these additional changes to be made.
I'm fine with that, but I just want to make sure that there's consistency in the practice, with other developers that come before us.
Yeah, and that's certainly a valid point, Adam. It sounds like that fence along that neighbor's was never part of the project in this particular case, anyway. So
Well, then I think maybe one way of making it cleaner, Tom, is if you guys could write us a memo asking for permission to utilize the site and sign off on this, and then articulate in that memo the additional items that are going to be done and when they're going to be done. And then maybe the board, we can issue our approval contingent upon that understanding.
I'm fine with that.
So what were the
So-
changes? There were the slats, there were the, potentially, I mean, the fence, more the fence. And what else was, just so I can kind of get my head around what changes we're gonna.
I
have.
think Artie wanted some plantings over closer to Highland Avenue.
Were they part of
Yes.
the initial plan?
No,
All right,
But then they should have been part of the initial plan
well, I mean, I
because
just from a process perspective, I don't know, now we're asking for something that's not part of the initial plan,
just as we're doing with the fence along Webster Street in that neighborhood.
which was not part of the, correct, but
Correct.
I just,
Correct.
okay.
So we need
Whatever.
plantings on that side. You were just highlighting, Tom. I don't know, maybe about 8 or 10, 3 or 4. As far as the gaps go, somewhere around there.
okay.
So just so I'm on the same page, so from this meeting, the decision is still to tell the high school they cannot utilize the tennis courts?
I was recommending that there be a
Because-
memo that would come from you that would request the utilization, that would request basically, a final sign off in the utilization of this. And that would indicate the additional work that you're going to do and when, and then we would issue an approval. I would issue an approval.
But I mean, I think we're fine. I mean, at least I'm fine, and just telling my other members of the board of utilization, especially the high school. They've gone so long without this, so.
Yeah, and.
Yeah.
All right, because we were trying to let them use it earlier this month, so I just don't want to have them miss the entire season if their gym, PE or whatever was gonna try to do something over there.
Yeah, I'm certainly perfectly fine with it. So Lee, do you need a motion for us for giving you for the initial approval until based on the changes we're talking about? Lee,
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do
So,
I have a-
whatever
do I have a
those-
second?
yes, move that we do conditionally allow the usage of tennis courts with the changes that have been articulated in this meeting, added with a memo to from the engineer to Lee with regards to what those changes will be.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? Seeing no hands. Natasha,
Aye.
Eric,
aye.
Adam?
Hey.
Was that an aye from Matt, Adam?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Justin.
Aye.
And Artie, the chair votes aye. Thank you, guys. You have your initial approval.
All
and
right.
We'll be looking for those items we talked about. Thank you very much, Tom, Justin, and Ed.
Thank you. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay. There's just one other item on the agenda, and that is related to the tree committee. So I mean, I've had a lot of conflicts as far as what's been happening with myself in being able to attend some of the tree committee meetings. And so what I'd like to do is and I found someone, I'd like to have someone replace me on that, so it can get the attention it is needed from us. Now I have found, I mean, I was looking for someone that would kind of be similar, I suppose, similar to myself in this, but this is a planning board representative, so it does have to officially come through us. I found someone by the name of David Haruska. He actually lives on Rosemary Street near this project. He's been in town for about 7 or 8 years now. He is an environmentalist, but he's also understanding of people's property rights of owners. And an interesting thing he told me, and I've known him for a while now. He's also and he's a software manager, and he's also, I think, maybe an environmentalist. Maybe I said that, but again, he's pragmatic. And the one thing he told me, which was very interesting, his mother said the very first word he said was tree. That was the first word he used. So I would like to get some approval to have David Haruska take my place on the tree committee.
Does the charter, just procedurally, does the charter say a planning board member or a planning board member designee? Because do we have to change the charter?
We can have a designee, I believe.
Okay, so sometimes I know some of the committees we don't actually have, we don't specifically say that, but
Mhm.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so I just, wanted to lay it out there because I mean, what I'm thinking is, that's me thinking. I just want to get other people's opinions.
I
Who
mean,
else?
I know his posts are his digital footprint, let's just say, is definitely slanted toward very very pro tree. So we just have to be vigilant on who we who we put on committees. I think we were probably a little bit, and I know that I was part of this. Artie and I were part of this, but we definitely, I think, on the large house, probably we're a little bit too. The membership is a little bit too biased in terms of people with their own agendas. But this is something that I think has evolved through time. So I just want to make sure that we don't. We just are vigilant about that because they're representing the planning board, so as opposed to their own agenda.
Yeah, he isn't. I can tell you that he's not more he's not more pro tree than I am. Let me put it that way.
He's more
Marty,
vocal, maybe.
I do think I do, and I'm sorry I didn't check it. To Justin's question, Alex had sent me, I think, the composition of the board presently. And at least in terms of what I'm looking at, it says member of the planning board. So I think we need to just confirm that it can be an appointment of the planning board and it's not limited to a member.
And is there anyone here that is interested in being part of it?
Can you explain the lift? How big is the committee? Who else is on it? Like, we're kind of looking at this long after the fact.
Yeah, there's around, I don't know, is it 10 or 11 people, give or
Well,
take?
there's a member of the select board, there's a member of the Conservation Commission, there's a member of the planning board, there's a member of the Climate Action Committee. There's a member of the Stormwater Working Group, there's a member from the Large House Committee. There's a local builder, there's a local developer, there was a landscape architect, and there were 2 residents at large.
And the tree, any bylaws is looking to be fall of next year. So the committee's going into the spring.
So there are 11 members.
And this becomes under the general bylaws, not the bylaws, the zoning bylaw.
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
Well, I think we may have to change the charter among the whole group to allow for a designee because it specifically does not say a designee.
And this is a select board appointed, or is this a subcommittee of the select board, just like the working group for like Envision?
Yeah, it was appointed by the select board with this membership composition.
So if they, I know a charter change is really just procedural, but if they, we recommend a charter change to add the word designee, then, I think then that frees us up to do this.
Yeah, Heidi and I
wants it.
Yeah, Heidi and I have talked about this. Sorry, Justin. Yeah, Heidi and I have talked about this as well. But yes, yes. Understood. So
I'm a little concerned the way that Justin's called out a bias on committee appointments and people being agenda driven, and the whole point of having a planning board member and not a designee, and perhaps similarly with the select board, is that the member is on the one hand impartial, and on the other hand is familiar enough to understand how what role the planning board plays, both in terms of planning and bylaw creation, and more importantly in site plan review process and special permit process. And having someone who's described as an environmentalist, who has a very who's described as having a very loud vocal presence on social media, and I haven't heard a thing about their understanding of the process. I'm a little concerned that they're not and I don't really know this person, but I'm a little concerned that they're not the biggest, most important qualification characteristic for me. If not the planning board, but the select board agrees to change the charter to allow for a designee, you got to have someone who understands the planning board role.
Do you think it's worth having David come in to a future meeting just to meet? Because I mean, when I was part of the transportation committee, I had to go in front of the planning board to be interviewed.
I was almost going to invite him this morning, but
Yeah, I mean, just either way, we can't appoint him right now anyway because of the
That's
the
fine.
change that needs to be done to the charter. So
yeah, that's fine.
you know, at least to have a conversation with him to kind of remind that this is a representative of us, and not necessarily of David's opinion. You know, which is they could be aligned, but we want to make sure to Adam's point that we know he's aware that he represents the board.
I support that.
Yeah,
Could
that
we-
makes sense. Yeah, that's fine.
And it, you know, this is not the preferred thing, but should this be an open call if the select board agrees to make the change to a designee as opposed to just bringing someone handpicked?
No, I mean, I in essence, I agree if at the beginning, but this is, I mean, I'm stepping down only for a particular person that aligns with kind of how I am. That being said, this person's probably more property rights than I am to some extent.
But the problem, so I understand and I laud the intent, Artie. Like I get it, but whether they're an environmentalist or a private property activist, you know, they're two very different things. But setting that issue aside, you know, to Justin's point, they shouldn't have any favor one way or the other, number one. And number two, the most important thing is that they understand the role of the planning board plays, the significance of the special permit and the power of the special permit and the distinction with the function of the site plan review. That's the whole reason why the planning board is there in that capacity. And nothing should be more important than that as the deciding factor. And there's also a factor here of transparency and you know, just handpicking someone and walking them in is not really a transparent process.
Well, again, I'm fine having them come in and talk with us. And
Yep.
Everyone comes in with a bias, but that being said, in everything I've done, and I'm sure the rest of us as well, we try to cast away our bias that we all have, cast away our bias, you know, during the discussions as much as possible. But again, I'm certainly fine, and certainly, I mean, he'd be perfectly willing, of course, fine to come in and talk with us. And so we can find a time during our next meeting for him to come in. And so we'll.
Yeah, I support that. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I know David. I like David. So, but I think the whole board should be able to have an opine and ask questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Should it be open, or is everyone else okay with? Is everyone? Or is everyone okay
Obviously.
with? You know, not having anyone else come in.
I'm fine with that, of course.
What's
And
been
what-
the standard practice, whether this board or other boards? That question.
Great question.
Well, we haven't done them in the interim, but usually in the beginning, we open it up, you know. There's, you know, so people are able to submit a letter of interest and we make a decision.
But one of the things that I want to say, we did do it with Jean because she had been just on the planning board.
Mhm.
So
Correct. We did.
So-
Right.
Yeah.
and there were others, like people that have been on the planning board previously. We feel more comfortable because, as Adam says,
Mhm.
they understand the
true.
process and the
Mhm.
kind of, you know, the mission of our position. So I think Artie, if he could come in, but the question is, you know, we have, I guess, feel comfortable that the person understands what you know, what we're looking for and what our process is.
I wonder if we
here's a
should
question.
also ask Ted Owens.
What's that?
Wonder if we should also invite Ted Owens, see if he'd be interested. I could reach out to him.
Well, again, this is something I'm stepping down, making sure the person has something similar to myself. That's the only reason I'm
But
stepping
that's
down.
not, I understand that. Having someone who has planning board experience,
Mhm.
not of their political persuasion,
Mhm.
is the deciding factor here.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, we've had, you know, Ron Ruth, who's been a planning board member, participate on some other committees. We've had Jean on multiple committees. And I think that, you know, I'd be curious, I could reach out to Ted and see if he's familiar with this. And if he's, you know, if he has some time. How often does the group meet?
At least once a month. Sometimes it's been twice, but normally once a month.
And how long are the meetings?
2 hours. They're usually 2 hours.
So I could reach, I just think that I'm very concerned about having someone who doesn't have familiarity like we wanted with Gene, and that's what the comfort level was with the board, and also having, you know, just one individual handpicked. I don't think that's a good process. I definitely want to meet him and have him come in for sure. But I think we should, you know, I think the best move is to open it up.
Sure, we could, I could support opening it up,
Well,
but
I'm
obviously
just,
just let, you know,
I mean, if you want to see if Ted wants to come in, if you want to see what Ted wants to come in, or if anyone wants to come in, that's fine, but you know, I'm on it right now.
I think we should open it up. Just, I mean, I don't know this person. I'm sure they're wonderful. I'm just saying, I need to talk to them more, but I think it shouldn't just be one person because they're representing us on something pretty important, and having someone who has some knowledge of being on the planning board, I think would be helpful, but this person might be the best candidate. So I don't want to discourage that, but I do think we should open it up.
Yeah, I think what's interesting in this and that is I do think, you know, property rights, or the owners, the rights of the property owner has been a, you know, big part of this whole discussion for everyone. And so I think that's a big part of it as well, understanding that, or agreeing to that and seeing how that fits into anything that we're doing. So, but it's fine. I mean, we're a board, so if we want to invite some more people in, see if they're interested, that's fine.
I would also be in support of that if and I don't know David personally, but I do know he's a thoughtful person, very smart. If maybe he was a former planning board member, it'd be a different conversation. But given the sort of historical precedence on this issue, I would support opening it up.
That's fine. So if we can see if we can find some more people that are interested, maybe we can have it at the next meeting.
Well, and Lee, did the thing have to be posted?
There may be some people that are, let me circulate with Miles from the select board to see how they want to, how we might open it up, if that's the path we want to go down. And let me find out what the process would be to change it from a planning board member to a designee.
I think that's a good path. I just hate to see, you know, people later on at town meeting discredit the work of the whole committee because the process is flawed.
Fair
I
enough.
think we need to, consistently apply the process. Or consistently follow the process.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah, fair enough. So Lee, we'll wait to hear we'll wait to hear from you as far as what.
Okay, I'll follow up with the select board
Okay, sounds good.
town manager's office. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Lee. So I think that's it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, Natasha. Natasha? You're-
Sorry, aye.
Yeah, Justin,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Adam, the chair votes aye. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it very much. We'll see you guys later on.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.